Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I hope you've had a good weekend. Hopefully, you're gearing up for a big Super Bowl Sunday, if that's the sort of thing that you're into. This is a story that I had wanted to talk about, but I wanted to get as many facts as possible. So, the person that you see pictured here is Timothy Wilks, and this picture comes from his Twitter page. It's one of the few pieces of social media that is currently out there for Tim Wilks. Now, Tim was gunned down Friday night, just before 9:30 p.m. in the Hermitage area of Nashville, Tennessee. He was in an area that had several stores, and the closest store he was next to was the Urban Air Trampoline Park. And of course, this area has tons of kids that are there taking advantage of the trampoline park, their parents. It is a known hangout of individuals outside of the area because of all the different stores and proximity to it. So he and a friend are doing what's described as a YouTube robbery prank. Timothy has a butcher knife. He and the other person, I'm assuming the other individual that hasn't been named yet, was doing the filming. They approached a group of individuals, Timothy with a butcher knife, and they were going to film this prank. Already, it doesn't sound like a good idea. No part of that sounds like a good idea. Even if we weren't in the midst of a pandemic, when people are already at a heightened state of alert, that type of a prank, when you are threatening bodily harm, the other individuals clearly not knowing that what you're doing is a prank, at least according to them, that is the statement they've given to police. They were not in on it. Because typical pranks that you see on YouTube, everybody is in on it. Very rarely are there any real pranks. So Timothy Wilks approached the individuals, and one of the individuals was David Starnes, 23 years old. David Starnes Jr., his full name. He pulled out a gun and he defended himself, and he shot and killed Timothy Wilks. And I can't say I blame him. It was self-defense. He thought he was about to be robbed or worse, and he took action. Now, it looks, as I said earlier, it looks potentially like the social media has been scrubbed for Timothy Wilks. I don't know that that's a fact. His Twitter is one of the few things open, and that has only been up. The what's still there tweets, etc., are from 2015. So outside of what has happened to this young man whose life is over, it's done, let alone the individuals that will be forever scarred by this. David Starnes, who had to take a life in what he thought was the protection of his own, of the lives around him. They talked with several of the customers of the Urban Air Trampoline Park that said what a horrible, terrible idea this was for a YouTube prank around this area where children congregate, young kids. And I honestly, maybe it's my naivete to YouTube, I thought the prank part of YouTube had died out long ago. But there are still many prank channels that get many millions of views, and it's still going to have people emulating that, trying to copycat that, trying to get their 15 minutes of fame, especially in a day and age now where people don't know what is around the corner. And for some young people, they have trouble deciding what's the next step for them in life. Now, there are some people that are lashing out against the gunman, calling for additional gun laws. You know, that always comes. I can't see how the gunman is to blame in this. I think this person, provided they were legally able to own a weapon, that the weapon was legally bought, etc., I think they did everything according to what any law-abiding citizen that is armed would do. That is the whole purpose of it, is to protect yourself and those around you when violence comes. I think this needs to be a wake-up call for these types of channels that are ever escalating these pranks. If it potentially goes into what is a crime, you would have a hard time convincing police that you didn't do a crime. They say, oh, I was faking. It's for YouTube. Who's to say? Who's to say? What if the robbery went well and suddenly it's not a YouTube prank, it's just a robbery? But ultimately, we have a young man that's killed. There is a friend of mine on YouTube, the legendary The Swedes channel. I was talking to the Swedes earlier. He said he saw a comment that said that Timothy might have been a friend of Balin Levine, who is a prank channel. He's out of Florida. This could be an attempt to either do something on his channel or to do something like what he does. A real shame. Just, we always hear these stories of people who die in just strange ways, ridiculous ways, pointless ways. And this has to really rank up there as one of the most pointless deaths. What a waste. What a waste of this young man's life. You got to be smarter, people.